مرحبا من جديد والسلام عليكم. هذه الجلسة ستكون باللغة الإنجليزية لمن يحتاج لسماعات. Welcome again everyone, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've had a productive day at WISE 11. I am honored to be hosting the session that celebrates the work of incredible innovators from around the globe. Every year since 2009, the WISE Awards shed light on 6 successful initiatives and connect them with our growing WISE Awards network, which now counts 90 projects across 150 countries. This year's award-winning projects have all demonstrated proven impact in placing communities at the heart of their work and in using local knowledge and resources to develop effective solutions. We will take the time to hear from each representative for each project, but first, let's hear from our keynote speaker, a distinguished economist, public policy analyst, and educator who is recognized internationally for his important work in sustainable development. Please help me welcome Professor Jeffrey Sachs.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for this incredible honor, Your Excellencies, and all of the participants in WISE. There is no more important action than the one that you are undertaking, which is to promote the quality education for all the children in the world. It's a remarkable challenge and a remarkable commitment of your government, WISE Foundation, education above all. Sheikh Moza, whom we admire so much, who has been a global leader in education for these many years, reminding us every day of the truth that it really is education above all. I am an advisor to the United Nations and a so-called SDG advocate, an advocate for the Secretary General of the United Nations on the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. But let me say, while I'm supposed to say that we love all our children the same, all 17 goals, SDG 4, education for all, really is the most important of all of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, because there is no chance of achieving sustainable development. There is no chance of ending poverty or hunger. There is no chance of protecting the planet environment. There is no chance of achieving SDG 16, a peaceful and inclusive society, if we don't have quality education for all our children. And as an economist, I can tell you there is also, simply put, no higher return on the planet than having a 5-year-old start in pre-K and helping her achieve education through upper secondary and then on to higher education. Simply put, the economic and the financial and the social and the human returns to that basic activity surpass every other investment on the planet. Yet, the reason why we are here is not only to consider the new technologies and how they can contribute to that goal, not only to consider what artificial intelligence might mean for the kinds of education we want, but an even more basic fact, which is that, as is the core of the objective of WISE and education above all, there are hundreds of millions of children who are not receiving even a basic education, who are not even in school, who are in impoverished places where the government might try but can't afford to provide education for all, or in these tragic and horrendous conflict zones where people's lives have been completely upended, and of course where the schools are being bombed and the children are, those who are surviving are being completely displaced with the horrible sights that they're seeing and the absence of educational opportunity. In other words, excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, we have our work cut out for us as never before. I know that we're about to hear from the winning teams of the WISE Awards, and I'm excited about that because I see from the awardees incredible innovation across a wide range of activities and a wide range of locations. And what we will know from this and be inspired from this is how we can combine creativity and the new technologies to do things in education as never before. One of the questions of this summit, incidentally, is what kind of education should we give in an age of artificial intelligence? I think the answer is obvious. We should give human intelligence in an age of artificial intelligence. I, by the way, like to refer back to the ancient Greeks who had a term and a philosophy called paideia. Paideia meant that every educated citizen of the polis of the Greek city-state should have an education that created both intellectual knowledge and virtues of citizenship. And this is what we need today. We need still to instill knowledge of our world, an understanding of the challenges that we face, whether it is climate change or how to end these conflicts. It is to create the virtues not of a citizen of a city-state, but of a citizen of an interconnected world. So we also need to help our children, in my case, our grandchildren, to understand that they're living in a diverse but closely interconnected world, and that their lives will be immeasurably enriched by appreciating the diversity of cultures and by being able to reach out across national borders as friends around the world. We have a big job ahead of us. I am profoundly grateful for this country's leadership. You know, I come from a country that's awfully rich, but it's not leading. It's not providing solutions to these challenges. Qatar is pointing the way for the whole world in indicating that we need to create a world of creativity, a world of innovation, and especially a world of decency in which education truly is above all. Thanks to all of you. Let us work together to achieve these goals.
Thank you very much, Professor Sachs. It is now time to celebrate innovation in education. This year's winning projects join a growing community of innovators from around the world who have inspired us with their deep humanity and who expand the possibilities of what education can be. To present the trophies, it is my pleasure to welcome to the stage the Minister of Education and Higher Education of Qatar, Her Excellency Ms. Buthaina bint Ali Jabr al-Nuaimi. And now let me call to the stage a representative of each of these remarkable projects, For the first project, Marianne Stone, Regional Project Director for Ahlan Simsim. Ahlan Simsim is a partnership between the International Rescue Committee and Sesame Workshop to bring education to young children affected by conflict and crisis in the MENA region. Chirita, Strategic Project Director for Tekwill in Every School. Please come. Tekwill is a Moldovan public-private partnership that equips students with ICT and life skills, providing school programs with courses specifically focused on jobs for the future. And Mr. Armando Ali, CEO of PAL Network for ICAN. ICAN is a simple-to-use, scalable tool that measures children's foundational numeracy while engaging with a broad network of citizen volunteers. Fourth, Mr. Siddhan Sachdeva, co-founder of Rocket Learning. Rocket Learning is an EdTech company providing playful programs through WhatsApp designed for early childhood education in rural areas. Layisha Perhati, Partnership and Business Development Manager for NaTakallam. NaTakallam provides remote employment and language learning opportunities for refugees by utilizing their language expertise. And last but not least, Mr. Luis Camargo, founder and director of OPEPA for nature-based networks. OPEPA promotes active collaboration between schools and local actors that inspire communities to embrace nature as a key learning environment for all subjects. Congratulations to all of you, and Your Excellency, if you can be placed in the middle for the collective photo. Excellency, thank you everyone. Congratulations again to each of you. Please take your seats as we prepare to hear from our first award-winning project. Marianne Stone, we are very excited to hear the story of Ahlan Simsim. I will take your award, I will return it, I promise. And here's your mic and click.
Hello, thank you so much. First, I want to thank WISE and the Qatar Foundation. We're super excited to be here today. And I want to extend my congratulations to all of my fellow awardees. It's really an honor to stand beside you. I'm going to, here we go. Sorry. Before we get started, I want to invite everybody to think about themselves as a child. Maybe you're a 5-year-old, maybe a 6-year-old, whatever pops to mind. As we go through this presentation today, it's important that we all remind ourselves that we were once children. It's not so easy to be a child today. Over 71 million children between the ages of 0 and 5 are living their entire lives in places affected by conflict. 71 million. That's more than the total population of France. In MENA, where Ahlan Simsim is implemented, 1 in 5 children between the ages of 5 and 14 are out of school, and 1 in 3 are affected by conflict and violence. 1 in 3. That's about a third of the number of seats in this very room. That means that children in places like the occupied Palestinian territory, Syria, Congo, and Sudan are facing prolonged exposure to adversity that has the potential to impact outcomes in health, learning, and behavior that they risk to take with them for their entire lives. So what do we do when we know that the scale of the problem is this big? We have to think bigger. In 2017, the IRC, the International Rescue Committee, and Sesame Workshop were the first ever recipients of the MacArthur 100 and Change Award. A bold statement, $100 million for children affected by conflict and crisis in MENA. The following year, the LEGO Foundation added to that investment. At its core, Ahlan Simsim is about placing children and families at the center. It drives our investments, and it influences every decision that we make. People often ask me, what do you think is a testament of the success of Ahlan Simsim? And I always start with the power of partnership. Ahlan Simsim started with the IRC and Sesame, a humanitarian organization and a mass media organization, combining their strengths for bigger impact for children. We expanded that vision in MENA to 80 partners, from civil society to national government, to local and national broadcasters, to technology partners. Our partners span sectors and transcend discipline, and we have one important thing that connects us: a relentless commitment to child outcomes. So how do we do it? For the past 6 years, Ahlan Simsim has developed a set of values that drive our work. The first is about design. From the Ahlan Simsim TV show that reaches over 27 million children in MENA, to materials that we create for healthcare professionals, to our technology products, innovation and contextualized materials are at the center of what we do. Our second value is about a focus on people. When I say that we put a child at the center of everything, it means that we need to consider how children interact with the world from their perspective, whether it's with a healthcare provider or a teacher or a caregiver. We assess context and systems alongside people-centered needs as a core part of our design. Our final value is about learning. We've committed and invested to learning for the past 6 years in Ahlan Simsim, and we haven't shied away with what doesn't work. We've used these critical moments to improve our products and better ourselves, all in service to outcomes for children. So what does this look like in practice? One of our solutions, a remote early learning program, we call it RELP, is one of those, is an example of that. Imagine that you could give a 5-year-old child a year's worth of education in just 11 weeks. That's what this project does. RELP combines the success of Ahlan Simsim from mass media materials to playful educational materials to curricular content for teachers, and it's designed as a conversation. It connects teachers and caregivers and children in a way that works for them. We use everyday mass messaging technology like WhatsApp and Telegram, and we do all of this remotely, and it works. In an impact study that we conducted in collaboration with our research partners at New York University, we found both statistically and developmentally significant outcomes in the domains of literacy, numeracy, and social emotional learning, akin to 1 year of in-person preschool in just 11 weeks. And this is only one of our solutions. What I find truly inspiring about RELP is not only the results, which are amazing, but about the story that it tells us in terms of what is possible. RELP asks us to rethink our approach to learning, to rethink the assumptions that we have about where learning happens, and how we can best support children and caregivers in times of crisis. Brain science tells us that a child's brain develops faster in the first 5 years of their lives than at any other time. It means that they are more susceptible to conflict and adversity. But it also means that there is an opportunity. We have an opportunity during the first 5 years of a child's life that we do not get back if we don't take it. With the current iteration of the Ahlan Simsim project coming to an end at the end of December, we're focused on the future. To date, we've reached over 2.5 million children in Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq, and Syria, and we're committed to reaching more. We want to stay committed to our bold vision, think big, with that relentless focus on child outcomes. So I want to leave you with 3 things. I want to go back to the beginning, actually, before I leave you with these 3 things, and talk about the reality of the world. What we know is that conflict isn't going anywhere, and children are going to continue to be disproportionately affected by conflict. We know that resources are shrinking. We're constantly being asked to do more with less. And we know that new challenges are just around the corner, whether it's climate or something that we have not yet even imagined. We also know, and the conversations today and tomorrow have told us, that technology is advancing faster than ever before, and that human creativity is endless. We know that the first 5 years of a child's life are an immense opportunity, and we know from the people in this room that there's a power to collective action. So the 3 things that I want to leave you with are: first, create. We need to continue to create solutions for children under the age of 8. And we need to connect those solutions together so that we can get more with the things that we're doing. And finally, we need to think about change in multiple ways. We need to think about the change that we're seeking in the immediate for acute crises, and also not forget that we're looking towards the future. We're looking towards the future for a more sustainable and positive impact for children looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marianne. Thank you, Marianne. And now I would like to invite Chirita to join me on stage. And by the way, in case you're wondering what happened to Marianne's award, I have no idea what you're talking about. Anna, welcome and congratulations for Tekwill in Every School award. Can you tell us how are you making sure in Moldova that the next generation is job ready?
Thank you, Rava, for this wonderful introduction, and thank you everybody for the awards and for the recognition. First of all, I would start with what Tekwill in Every School is, and probably it's a mix of different tools and instruments and activities that we do to prepare the next generation for future jobs that we don't even know. We're coming from the private sector, from the private IT industry sector, and we are trying to bring each partner interested in the process to support the cause. Meaning we have private companies offering training and mentorship. We have the government that is open and ready to support technology-driven content, platform, instruments being adapted in almost 400 schools in a very small country in Southeastern Europe with a population of approximately 3 million. We also ensure that we have a great network of teachers, a great network of students, and that everybody has a benefit out of it. Meaning that the skills that they are getting are the ones that will help them maybe even leapfrog other countries, because we don't have natural resources, we don't have seas, we don't have mountains, we don't have anything except human capital.
So this is how you get interest from the student side, or is it also how you get people, experts and mentors and people in for-profit businesses to actually encourage them to be part of it?
It's everybody. We have businesses, we have students, we have teachers. Everybody's part of the network to support the Tekwill in Every School project.
Courses on AI are one of several options that are available through Tekwill. How can we support young learners adapting to this new era of AI?
Besides AI, there are other 8 courses, and we teach programming, we teach graphic design, we teach web development, we teach modern technologies, but also we teach soft skills like emotional intelligence and entrepreneurship. AI is one of the curriculums or one of the subjects that we have put an accent on 4 years ago when we developed the project. And it's more about how do we get adapted to a future that we don't know. How do we make the best use of technologies and best use of tools that are available in the market, worldwide, and in the country? And how do we prepare for a next vision, a next collaborative model, a next future, and the next global, let's say, integration? Technology can help, and AI can definitely speed up. Therefore, making it open, offering the opportunity, making it available, but also teaching on how to use it in best way is probably what makes the difference. So it's not only about giving the access to use AI, for example, for using ChatGPT to cheat, but it's actually building different cool applications and learning how to use AI for the benefit of local communities or for the benefit of whatever other projects the students are doing.
And by the way, please don't use ChatGPT to cheat. It's very obvious.
Absolutely. Don't do that. That's bad.
Yeah, it's not helping. But when you say you want to prepare for a future we don't know, what do you expect these future skills to be? How do you decide which skills you're going to train learners?
It's really interesting. We don't know what those skills are. When we set the set for the subjects that we teach currently in schools, we asked the industry what they think that would be available or needed in about 3, 4, 5, 7 years. So whatever we got as an answer, and even more, looking at the global trends, that's what we put in the framework. Definitely, we could not only teach tech skills, because tech is like a language. You learn, you get the skill, but then you also need that, whatever we're talking about, that human part, that emotional intelligence, that component where you can adapt, be flexible, be able to learn, and learn to learn, basically, to work in teams, to apply your knowledge without being stuck to one specific thing. So it's a matter of how we support different kinds of skills and how we create the momentum where at least 78,000 kids in our country, which is quite a lot, have the ability and the capacity to learn.
One main aspect from what I'm hearing from you is that you are connecting those students with the job market. What have you learned from your learners?
Absolutely, very good question. We do connect our students. We want them to get hands-on experience. That's why on a yearly basis, besides the content, besides the platform, besides the equipment, we organize competitions where they can demonstrate their ability to work with the local communities. For example, children in rural areas work and develop brand identities, websites, or AI applications or mobile applications for local bakeries, for local shops, for local restaurants, for local schools. Why not? Each of them have actually developed something for their school, and that is their first primary market-driven experience, not only something that would be in the cloud or somewhere, but actually really market-driven. We have seen how they create shops, online shops for those, and that both parties benefit. The children who are almost getting into their adulthood, they're like 17, 18 years old, those who are doing more advanced stuff, but also the local businesses. They get more informed, they get more connected, and they get a quality product. So they actually learn that there is a good base of potential partners that they get in the schools.
What advice would you give to other entities around the world who are thinking about projects like yours and establishing partnerships like that?
It was interesting today in the networking session when many have approached and asked, would this be replicable in other countries? I guess yes. It takes to have a big vision, a big dream, and I guess it takes a lot of effort to bring everybody at the same table. In our case, education was the cause that brought all parties to the same table to believe in it and to make the difference in the benefit of a society, in the benefit of a government, in the benefit of the private sector, and of course of the future citizens of the global world, not only of our country. We started with a vision to create premises where these kids would get the necessary skill set to be able to feel attractive or attracted to work from home. But I'm sure that the market and the world will change, and they can be easily integrated and easily talk with others in the same tech-related language.
Thank you very much, Anna Chirita from Tekwill in every school.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I have to say that Anna was very efficient. She exactly finished at the right time of the interview. And now I would like to call Armando Ali and Siddhanta Sachdeva. Please join me on stage. So I have a question for both of you. Why do we need to have solutions designed by and for a global South to address education challenges?
Thank you for the question, and once again, thank you for the organizers of this beautiful ceremony. It's important because contextualization and ownership are key to design sustainable solutions. Today we are celebrating ICAN, the International Comparable Assessment of Numeracy, but ICAN is making justice to what thousands of mothers, fathers, and volunteers moving from household to household, from village to village, and using very simple assessment tools. We're asking if our children can do basic maths and read basic and simple grade 2 tests. That time, 17 years ago, you will agree with me that the world conversation and the priorities were around number of schools, number of children that are attending schools, number of teachers that we are training, and number of books that are made available for the children. But no one was asking what children are getting out of school. So the idea of finding easy to understand tools and measure outcomes of schooling is what made a difference in this trajectory of celebrating the solutions from the Global South.
Siddhant?
Yeah, I think thanks, Rava, for the great question, and thanks to the entire WISE community for recognizing our efforts. I think the Global South has very specific challenges, both in terms of communities and in terms of the predicaments that they are facing. In India, around 35 million children are not getting access to high-quality early childhood education, and that's the problem that we're trying to solve. It's important that these solutions to address education at this scale are built from within the communities, because then there will be community-centric solutions, and then they are also built at scale, because the scale that we're talking about in the Global South is at a different level. So whenever we're building solutions, I think it's very important to think about the architecture that you're using technology while building it, so that it's built for scale, and they're also built while keeping communities at the center of design. If you do that, then a lot of solutions that we build in the Global South will be transferable across countries and communities. And I think that sharing holds a lot of potential.
Armando, what can large-scale citizen-generated data provide us with to better inform education policy in the region?
The large-scale assessments, they are providing awareness at different levels. I think the first stage is the awareness that is created at the household level with parents about what their children are getting out of school. And I can tell you, it's not only my own story, but the story of many of the volunteers who have been assessing foundational literacy and numeracy, that whenever we reach a household and we explain that we are willing to assess if their children can read and do basic maths, usually they call the smallest children to be assessed. Usually they will call those who are in grade 1 or 3. But after our insistence and asking even for the older ones to be called, and we do the assessment for the children who are in grade 4 or 7, most of the times that is the first time that the parents are realizing what their children can do. And seeing their children struggling to read when they are going to school for 5 or 7 years is most of the time the first stage that they realize that there is a problem that needs to be solved. The same approach happens at the district level and at the global level when we raise the importance of measuring school outcomes, because this citizen-led assessment have shown that going to school is not equal to learning. So the same way that it's important to have children in schools is also important to inform at all levels what children are getting out of schools.
Siddhant, in creating public goods, including content, technology, products, AI, how can we ensure that these can transcend one geography and remain relevant for the entire global south and global north?
Yeah, I think what Armando was saying, I think we work deeply with parent engagement. So we try to engage parents, communities, as well as sort of daycare center workers or teachers into the child's learning journey. But while doing that, there are a string of challenges that any model faces. I think it's very important to continue going back and sort of updating your playbook, which guides such models in the future. Parental engagement for around 2 million parents that we work with is a difficult problem to solve. Not every parent will immediately start engaging with the solution. Now, where are parents struggling with engagement, right? Is it aspiration? Is it awareness? Is it their own confidence? We have to build these frameworks and playbooks of what is working and what is not working so that it can be shared with the larger ecosystem. Communities like WISE really help in disseminating such learnings out there. And I would like to highlight especially the fact that a lot of solutions that don't work are very helpful for other ecosystem partners who are trying the same thing or similar problems in other geographies.
As a parent myself, I discovered that I have to actually study with my child. From what I'm hearing from you, it's the same. You actually need to teach the parents to teach the children.
Absolutely. And I think even while teaching parents, I think it's important for them to go into the learning journey and for us to understand where they are struggling. Around 70% of mothers and fathers who we work with are not educated themselves beyond grade 5th. So now it's about making them comfortable and confident in engaging with their child in their learning process. That means understanding what makes them comfortable. We leverage low-tech apps like WhatsApp to reach them where they are. We also understand if they are struggling with something, which can be as simple as sort of recording a video and sending it back, then how can we design for solutions which improve their digital literacy? I think that's really important to meet the user where they are.
Because even when they are educated, none of us knows about AI and the digital tools. So, Armando, how do you leverage community members to move towards greater equity and access to education in the Global South?
The first step is create awareness. And this is what both our assessment tools are doing, that parents and children, they realize what they are able to do and what they are not able to do in terms of reading and the basic maths. The awareness creation is the first step. But the second step is to build the solutions that work for the specific community that we are working in. And as Siddharth was mentioning, solutions that are built involving and engaging the interested people are most likely to be more sustainable. And most of times, they don't require necessarily very advanced technology solutions, but dedication and understanding the issues. So I would say that as we create awareness and we engage the stakeholders to find solutions to their problems based on their contexts, we are making significant progress towards sustainable solutions.
Siddhant, how do we use technology responsibly to mobilize systems and communities?
I think that's a great question, and I think it underlies amongst all the topics that we've been discussing at the conference. I think we hold the position that technology can't really replace teachers in the classroom. I think it has to be an enabler to the teaching learning process. It's also important to not look at technology only from the perspective of a classroom, but also on how to engage the entire community around the child. It does take a village to raise a child, right? And it's parents, caregivers, everyone around them that is helping the child in growing. So how can we use sort of technology, basic technology solutions that work in empowering communities? That does mean thinking about existing communities and how can we digitize them. That's step one. And of course, more advanced things such as AI use cases are there, which help nudge parents and users in the right direction. So we've been building use cases on AI which preempt when a parent is likely to drop off. Probably a parent is likely to drop off at month 3. So can the algorithm detect that and nudge the parent at month 2 to continue building the right behaviors? So it's about using technology and AI as the right enablers in the teaching learning process. A fun anecdote which we discovered after a year of our operations is that the bot which sends our content across 100,000 parent-teacher groups, 50% of parents believe that the bot is the teacher. And that works really well because it helps give credit to a system which is already existing, and it doesn't take away anything from the technology bit.
For both of you, what are the challenges that are preventing you from reaching more parents? Armando, maybe.
I would say is purpose. Purpose at political level, purpose at community level, purpose, let's say, involving all stakeholders. I do believe that even under the current conditions, if we purposefully put foundational reading and numeracy as the priority, we can still reach out to many, many children. The technology is definitely something that we should explore, but recognizing that it's not widespread equally in all geographies, and especially in the global south where we are representing, there is also inequalities in access to technology. But I do believe that a very clear purpose and oriented policies towards a specific problem can still make a huge difference. And the second, if you allow me, I would say engaging the entire society, engaging parents, engaging volunteers, engaging the religious institutions, the society, and asking them to give what they can give to build the solution.
Yeah, I think, like I was saying, there are around 35 million children in India who we can help, and we are currently working with around 2 million such children. We've been grateful to have an ecosystem and partners who have pushed us towards scale, and we use technology to do that. However, I think I look at it as an economics problem. I think there's a supply. There has to be enough quality supply of education from the government side. It has to be baked into policy. There have to be products that the government can actually operate from a technology point of view and from a cost point of view. And then there has to be demand. Parents and communities really have to demand early childhood education for it to really sort of meet. And when that supply and demand sort of creates a loop, that's when we have a system which is working on its own. Our products can fit into it, a lot of solutions can fit into it, but I think that's what's really needed.
Defining success, what are the things worth measuring? Armando first and then Siddhanta.
From our side, we are already celebrating 2 successes. I would say the adoption of SDG 4.1.1 was also strongly informed by citizen-led assessment data. And the adoption last year of the call to action to transform education was a confirmation of our claims of 15 years ago that we were saying that children are going to school and are not learning, and we are very happy to see that the call to action is focusing on the importance of building the foundations for learning. But there's one challenge that we can still ask the audience and partners that are here, that as we mirror the 2030 deadline of achievement of SDG 4, we can still provide reliable, up-to-date data on learning outcomes. And we are using ICAN and ICAN to conduct a large-scale assessment starting next year in 15 countries. I hope we can engage more people to bring the most fresh data on where we are in our promise to provide quality education to all children.
Siddhant.
Yeah, I think success comes in different forms. I think recognition such as the WISE community recognizing us comes a close second. I think visualizing impact on ground and seeing impact of your solutions on ground is what sort of keeps us going, and that's really what defines success for us. I think within that, learning outcomes for children is the gold standard that we aim for. An engaged RL parent and their children are in the top 30% of their class. But I think apart from learning outcomes, we really want to look at empowering communities as a clear success metric, and also thinking about how are we dealing with large systems and governments. Are we empowering them to carry on some of the work that we are building in terms of policy and products, which can outlast us? So I think it's learning outcomes at the center of it, but empowering communities as well as empowering government systems, large government systems, to think in the direction of learning outcomes. That's what success is.
Thank you very much, Siddhant and Armando. Thank you.
Thank you, Rava.
Again, we have achievers in terms of sticking to the time. Now, last but not least, Layisha. So, yes, Layisha Perhati from NaTakallam. You're not an Arabic speaker, and you're based in New York, and you chose an Arabic name. Let's start with that. How did you choose NaTakallam?
Yes, for the audience who don't know NaTakallam, it means we speak in English, but it's of course Arabic word. We originate offering Arabic language learning to audience, to learners, but we enable refugees and displaced individuals who are stuck in the limbo, being prevented to enter local economy. So we offer income opportunity for those individuals through our language learning and cultural exchange programs, as well as transition services, so that they're able to have sustainable income opportunities and be able to reintegrate into the community and start a new life.
You used innovative solutions to come to those needs. What are they?
Yes, so I don't know in the audience how many are aware of a total number of displaced individuals globally. It's approximately more than 100 million individuals. And less than 1% of those individuals are actually successfully resettled in the same environment. Among those individuals, there's having challenges of financial burdens, going through complicated legal processes, as well as the cultural differences and language barriers. But the difference right now we're living, we're in a digital era. We are all connected through technology, and that's where NaTakallam utilizes a digital space, digital economy, hiring refugees as our language tutors, cultural exchange partners, and translators, so they're able to connect with global learners through our tech platform.
And how does NaTakallam empower the voice of those communities?
So we actually designed a program called Refugee Voices Program. We designed this to create a space where they're able to amplify their own voices, bring in their own narrative, and share their own resilience, resettlement process, and their own stories into the classrooms, into corporate settings, into conferences and events, because we realize there are so many misconceptions about refugees. Many people assume refugees are living in poor communities. Many of them are struggling in the refugee camps, which is true, but also in reality, there are so many urban refugees. And unfortunately, urban refugees do not receive as much humanitarian aid as the ones who are living in the refugee camps. So our Refugee Voices program is designed to break through such stereotypes, where we're able to provide more common understandings and more realistic perspective for the people to have a more human connection with the refugees and displaced individuals.
There are a lot of misconceptions regarding refugees. When they are in camps, there's an imaginative stereotypes that they're not educated, where you could find doctors and highly educated people,
Yes.
refugees, urban and
Yes.
in ITP.
Rural, yeah.
Can you tell us a story of where you succeeded in cross-cultural interactions amongst tutors, students?
Absolutely. There are so many success stories, but I really want to share a direct quote that we received from senior students from University of North Georgia. After completing our NaTakallam conversation sessions, he shared his experience that he never thought there are so much differences between himself and the refugee communities. After our sessions, he started to have self-reflection, asking himself if he had continued with the same idea that refugees are living in the huts, kicking sticks, what would have happened? Will he have accumulated hatred toward his community members and have acts of violence? But after our sessions, he concluded that if people just sit down and talk with community members from refugee community members for 20 minutes, then we all will realize how much we're misled. And this is again emphasizing our program, our mission that is beyond language learning. It's about human connections, and it's about cultivating an inclusive society where welcoming different narratives.
What inspiration can people around the world take from your project to create solutions that can support displaced people?
Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned, NaTakallam started with utilizing the digital economy, digital space. So I believe if we all seek for a more innovative solution, but in a way that we can come together through collaborations. Instead of reinventing the wheel, we do research and find partners who are doing a similar work and also bring our own unique strengths. That will be a very sustainable partnership solution that we can work together to achieve similar goals.
Given the urgency around the world, the conflicts that keep arising, the different waves of refugees, where they come from every time, depending on where the conflict is, how do you respond to and adapt to these needs?
Yes. Unfortunately, conflicts continue to arise globally, and at NaTakallam, although we're a small team, but we're also scaling, and we understand there are very difficult layers of challenges we need to tackle. So, for example, in response to the Ukrainian and Russian conflict, we're able to adapt very fast. In a way, we include Ukrainian and Russian into our language offering, and we provide language learning and cultural learning with sensitivity. And during the Beirut explosion, we were able to reach out to our language partners who are in Lebanon, and even those who had to flee from Lebanon due to different issues that face in the region, they're still able to continue working with us and gain sustainable income and be part of the community.
How can partnerships extend impact in education across the MENA region?
Yes, well, I mentioned earlier, it's very important that we all understand our own unique strengths and look for partners who are in the field working on the same mission and similar goal for collaborations instead of reinventing the wheel. But also, I believe it is very important that we shape our positions. At NaTakallam, for example, we welcome any sort of partnerships. We started with partnering with NGO from Lebanon, recruiting refugees from Syria. And we were also honored to partner with Qatar Foundation and provide refugee voices program and Arabic language learning to the classrooms. And we also would like to partner with more large international organizations and nonprofit organizations where their staff members are able to learn a language through our program and be more prepared before their departure to their mission in the region.
Thank you very much, Layisha.
Absolutely, thank you. My pleasure.
So last but not least, Mr. Luis Camarago from Open.
Wow, what a great day. And I would like to first thank WISE and the Qatar Foundation and my team at home. You know, as a young explorer, I had many opportunities to explore incredible places. Places such as the depths of the Rungbuk Glacier in the north side of Everest. As the forests and the tropical pristine forests in Colombia. And these experiences really helped me realize one thing. I am nature. I'm deeply woven and interdependent with everything around me. I believe in the power of nature to transform. I'm sure all of you here are convinced education is the tool to mold the future. But what kind of education do you think we need, especially in a world that is facing climate change, biodiversity loss, social unrest, and social inequality? How can we create learning experiences that actually inspire being creative, compassionate, resilient, and inspire the new wave of leaders that will mold our future? Einstein used to say, I don't teach my pupils. I only attempt to create the conditions for them to learn. And this is one of the philosophies that we use to inform and inspire my work at OPEPA. OPEPA aims to reconnect people with the earth in order to accelerate the transition towards sustainable and regenerative cultures. We support individuals connecting deeply, awakening their capacity to sense the visible and the invisible, and inspiring regenerative action. Our nature-based approach really aims to bring nature into education and take learning out into nature. And it goes beyond teaching about biodiversity or environment. It really supports students learning about culture, about values, about ethics, and building capacities to feel and understand their place in a greater ecosystem. OPEPA works in 4 main areas. We work in nature-based education, nature tourism, the transition towards regenerative cultures, and creating tools to face the most complex planetary issues facing us. So now I would like to invite you to close your eyes. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Think of yourselves when you were 10 years old in your classroom. Look around you. Look at the board. Look at the desks, the walls. Look at your classmates. I invite you now to stand up and walk through the door to a nature-rich city of learning, where you meet students from all the city and start exploring and discovering together, creating new ways of learning and knowledge that's co-created between all of you. Where nature actually guides you to learn more about yourself, about others, and about its own magic. Now imagine you're walking under the forest, the urban forest, next to a creek. As you explore and learn about the animals and plants, their interactions and adaptations, you start mapping the place, your park, and start feeling each of the spaces you move through. When you find a critical and lovely space, you sit down. You bring your journal out and start drawing a map of the place you've visited. With colors, you express the emotions you have felt in each space. As silence comes upon you, you hear the leaves rustling in the wind above you and the birds chirping in the trees. You stand up, get back together with your group, and share your experience. Together, you create a collective emotional map of your park. In a circle, you start talking about the role of space and well-being. Your teacher acts as a guide, and together you imagine the city you want to create and how to do it. Now open your eyes. This is a brief example of what we can live when we are out in nature, even inside the cities. We use nature as context, as content, but also as a catalyst for learning and helping us understand everything better. One of our innovations is the nature-based city networks that are citywide networks. And these networks really aim to green cities, but we believe greening cities must start with greening hearts. And that the most important nature-based solution we have is education, and this is something we have forgotten. This is a network that weaves nature, schools, private and public actors as partners and collaborators in building city learning environments and ecosystems with nature at the center. We work with schools to transform their approaches and spaces, to integrate nature-based education into their curriculum and culture, and to connect them and collaborate with other schools and stakeholders in the city through the natural areas around them. We have realized that in a deeply threatened planetary system, humans must heal. They must restore and reconcile with their home. Planetary health is a relational issue, and we must create learning experiences that allow us to come into right relation with ourselves, with others, and with nature. Understanding living systems and thinking from a systemic perspective is a fundamental tool and skill in order to create this change. Nature-based education creates a sense of belonging. It allows us to create an understanding of responsibility and a culture of care. It allows us to fall in love with nature, and in the process to fall in love with ourselves. And by fostering regenerative and nature-based leadership, we inspire individuals to use nature's principles to inspire and to inform their actions, their projects, and in such create and foster, the leaders and the new group of change makers that we will see. So as you have seen, nature is not only a learning environment. Nature is a teacher, nature is knowledge, and nature is inspiration. Bringing nature into the center of learning allows us to use an astonishing tool to transform communities and to bring people together to understand, live, and act for planetary health. I want to end this with a quote from Richard Louv. He said, he wrote The Last Child in the Woods, a really recommended book for you guys. But he said, the more high-tech we become, the more nature we need. And I think this is very important to balance the conversation in a space like this. The more high-tech we become, the more nature we need. So I invite you to join me in bringing nature back into education and allowing yourselves to fall back in love with nature. Thank you very much.
شكراً جزيلاً لويس وشكراً لكل الفائزين. If you would like to know more about their projects, the awards winners continue to be available in the networking zone tomorrow. The first day of the summit has now come to an end. Tomorrow, be ready for a full day of discussions, inspirational talks, master classes, workshops, and new encounters. We will meet here at the theater at 9 a.m. for a very special education above all plenary, which will recognize the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. The session will highlight ongoing challenges, showcase personal testimonies from Gazans, and present facts to clarify the humanitarian crisis. It will also cover educational recovery from trauma, conflict, and AI for the promotion and protection of human rights. I wish you a lovely evening. دمتم بألف خير ونلتقي غداً.